When I got home after a 12-hour hospital shift, I didn't expect peace, but I sure didn't expect that. My driveway was empty, just a big, greasy oil stain where my old Silverado should have been. Gone. No note, no call, just an empty space and the echo of my own disbelief. For a second, I thought it had been stolen. Then, my neighbor Greg jogged over, waving his hands. "Adrian, you didn't see it. The tow truck came at noon." Karen flagged them down. I froze. Karen, who I asked even though I already knew. There's only one Karen in our neighborhood who can make your blood pressure rise just by hearing her name. Karen Whitmore, president of the HOA, self-appointed guardian of community standards. Greg sighed. Said your truck violated the aesthetic policy, called it an eyesore. That woman had fined a guy once for leaving a basketball hoop visible from the street. She'd complained about the color of mailboxes' grass height, and even Christmas lights hung a day too early. I should have known she'd find a new target. So there I was, still in my scrubs, exhausted, furious. I called the tow company 3 transfers later. Some guy confirmed it. Yeah, white Silverado plate 7XG, we towed it. HOA violation. It was in my driveway, I said. Private property. Take it up with the HOA man. We just got the call. I hung up, grabbed my wife's car keys, and drove straight to the impound lot. $312 later, I got my truck back. I didn't even care about the money, it was the principle. When I pulled into my driveway, guess who was standing there, arms crossed, waiting? Karen. In her usual floral blouse, hair sprayed within an inch of its life eyes like she was summoning the police by sheer willpower. "You're not allowed to park that thing here," she snapped, pointing at my truck. I got out slowly. "You towed my truck from my own driveway." "It violates HOA appearance standards," she said, voice sharp and confident. "It's rusty. It lowers property values. You have zero authority to tow from private property," I told her. "We'll do it again if you don't move it." I pulled out my phone, hit record, and smiled. "Cool, just wanted to make sure I got that on camera, because I already called the police." Her eyes twitched. "They won't do anything. We're the HOA." I looked her dead in the eye. "You're about to find out that doesn't mean what you think it does." 5 minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. Officer Ruiz stepped out, scanned the situation, then asked, "She towed that from your driveway?" "Sure did," I said. Karen jumped in. "Officer, this vehicle violates the neighborhood standard. It's unsightly." He raised a hand. "Ma'am, did you authorize a tow from his property?" "We're the HOA," she repeated like it was a magic spell. "That's not a yes," Ruiz said, his voice colder now. "Because if you did, that's illegal. You can't remove someone's property from their own land." For once, Karen didn't have a comeback. She just stood there blinking. Ruiz radioed something in, then said he was calling for backup. I leaned against my truck, watching her pace like a caged poodle. When the second car arrived, it wasn't just another cop, it was a detective. Tan, blazer clipboard, the kind of man who's seen too much nonsense to have patience for any more. "Detective Healer," he said, shaking my hand. "Got a report about unauthorized towing from private property. You're the owner." "Sure am." I handed him my title and the impound receipt. Then I played the video where Karen threatened to tow again. Healer nodded slowly. "That's helpful. Real helpful." He walked over to Karen, flipping through his notes. "Ma'am, we pulled your HOA bylaws. There's nothing in here giving you towing authority from private driveways." "I acted in the community's best interest," she said, trying to stand taller. "The thing is," Healer replied, "intent doesn't change the law. You authorized a third-party contractor to enter private property and remove someone's vehicle. That's trespass and illegal seizure." Her mouth fell open. "Mr. Morneau," he said, turning to me, "would you like to press charges?" "Absolutely." Karen's face turned the color of spoiled milk. Greg popped his head over his hedge. "Detective, I've got a Ring camera that caught the whole thing, her waving down the tow truck." Healer smirked. "Yeah, I'd love a copy." Karen spun toward Greg, voice shrill. "That footage is private." "Nope," Greg said. "My property, my camera, and the sidewalk's public domain." Karen's mask cracked. "You're all ganging up on me." I stepped forward. "No, Karen, we're holding you accountable." That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from nerves, from anger. I kept asking myself, how much has she done that no one's noticed? I opened my email and started searching her old HOA notices. The deeper I went, the worse it got. Fake city logos, made-up fines, threats of liens she had no right to issue. I stayed up until sunrise compiling everything, 16 pages of screenshots, emails, and timestamps. I titled it, Pattern of Extralegal Enforcement by HOA President Karen Whitmore, and sent it straight to Detective Healer. 2 days later he called. His voice was different, heavier. Adrian, this just got bigger. She's been forging municipal inspection reports, pretending to be a city code officer. What? She's been using real city seals and fonts. Even the forms match the official ones. That's impersonation of a public official, felony level. From that moment, everything moved fast. The city attorney got involved. Investigators showed up at her house. I watched from my porch as officials walked the property, taking photos, pulling documents off her mailbox board. The neighborhood buzzed with whispers. Greg came over with his coffee, muttering, "Looks like the Queen's losing her crown." A week later, I got a call. "She's being arrested tomorrow morning. We'd appreciate if you didn't post about it." At sunrise, 2 unmarked cars pulled up to her house. She came out in a robe holding a newspaper. The officers approached, read the charges, cuffed her. No screaming, no fight, just a blank stare. By noon, everyone in the neighborhood knew. Then the audit results dropped. She'd been embezzling HOA funds, funneling thousands into a fake administrative fund. She'd even forged contracts, with landscaping companies taking kickbacks. But the worst part, she had a side deal with a real estate developer. Detective Healer showed me the proof: emails, spreadsheets, bank transfers. She'd been targeting elderly homeowners, issuing fake violations to pressure them into selling below market value. The developer paid her consulting fees, over $35,000. I remember standing there reading those emails and thinking, she weaponized the HOA to evict people. The city charged her with fraudulent impersonation, illegal seizure, elder intimidation, embezzlement, and conspiracy to commit real estate fraud. The list sounded unreal. 2 weeks later, we held a community meeting. The city attorney, Assistant Levell, stood at the front of the crowded room and laid it all out. This wasn't bad management. This was criminal exploitation. Your HOA president used her authority to intimidate and profit from her neighbors. No one spoke. Then a slow clap started, not out of joy but relief. The board voted that night to suspend her, permanently dissolve all unauthorized fines, and elect a new committee. Greg was voted president. Denise, our longest-term resident, became treasurer. I refused any official title, but I agreed to advise the compliance committee. I thought it was over, but the story had one more turn. Detective Healer stopped by a month later, folder in hand. She took a plea deal, he said. 18 months in state prison, 5 years probation, and a lifetime ban from HOA leadership. The city recovered $42,000 in stolen funds. It's going back to your community for restoration projects. I didn't say much, just nodded. That evening, I walked outside, parked my Silverado right where it had always been, in the middle of my driveway. The sun hit the hood just right, lighting up the new steel sign I'd installed, Private Property. Greg passed by with a grin. "Still keeping it there, huh?" "Yeah," I said. "It's a reminder this is my home. Sometimes it takes one person's arrogance to wake up a whole neighborhood. And sometimes the only way to deal with people who think they're above the law is to remind them what the law really is."